Alright, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. Today I'm gonna do a little different video for you guys. Today we're gonna be talking about this car right here, Jason's car, and he's right here.
Hello.
Hi, this is Jason. Introduce yourself.
Hi, my name is Jason. I'm friends with Jing. I own this white turbo BRZ. Had it for 2 years now, and it's been turbo for the past like 4 months.
Okay. Alright, well, today's video topic is gonna be, was it worth turboing your BRZ? And let's just walk around, show them the engine bay, and let's just talk about what's done to it so far before we talk about the big question. So, why don't you tell the audience what you have done to the car so far?
Alright, so before we even talk about like power or anything, car is on ST coilovers. I have a front sway bar from Hotchkiss, a bunch of other suspension bits like rear toe arms. I have a steering rack lockdown, so it doesn't move the steering rack around. I also have some bushings for the transmission, so it just shifts a little better. I have EBC yellow stuff pads and some drilled and slotted rotors. I'm also on 18 by 9.5 Titan 7s on some Bridgestone S007s. Yeah, so that's like, I think that's generally it. And then, oh yeah, obviously for the power stuff, so I'm running a turbo kit from Full Blown Motorsports. It's a Garrett GT86
So, is there any supporting mods for this that you did?
Yeah, so there's plenty of supporting mods. Up here you can see I have an oil catch can. That's just to help with any oil blow-by in the PCV system.
Gotcha.
I have slim fans. This is not really,
I don't know if you guys could see it, but it's over there.
So these fans are made by Spall, and the shroud is made by JDL.
Gotcha. I see you got some gold heat wrap.
So the whole cold side of the turbo, the charge pipe, is wrapped in the heat reflective tape. I heat wrapped the whole turbo manifold, the turbo blanket. I have a oil cooler. I had to upgrade my clutch to support all the power.
Gotcha. And so can you tell the audience why the fan shroud's also wrapped in heat reflective material?
So at least with my turbo kit, full blown kit, the clearance between the downpipe and the fans can be quite close. And previously I actually melted one of the radiator fans.
Oh, did you?
I did.
Nice.
So replaced the fan, and I modified the radiator to sit a couple millimeters forward, and now it's been good since.
And I can see that you're also running a flex fuel kit.
I am running a flex fuel kit.
Oh.
So flex fuel kit from Delicious Tuning.
Yep.
And yeah, I'm about the corn life now.
Since I know this car a little bit, he also forgot to mention that he got upgraded injectors and a fuel pump to support the flex fuel.
Oh,
so
yeah. Yep.
Yeah, he forgot about that.
So,
but first question I'm gonna ask Jason is, why did you go turbo instead of a supercharger?
So, having gotten to ride in a turbo and a supercharged car, I think what I wanted was something a little bit more dramatic. I really enjoy when the car hits in the boost, and it kind of has that faster, violent nature. I mean, that really depends on your turbo, but when you drive a supercharged car, like when Jing's car was working, it really feels like the NA car, but more. All the characteristics stay the same, but I think for my driving style, I really enjoy like that. It kind of switches into like a faster mode, and staying in boost is kind of fun for me.
All right, so moving on. Another question I think a lot of people are wondering is it reliable? Since now that I know you've been through the stage of just doing headers, and now that you have a turbo kit, so you kind of went through the stages. Yeah. So what do you guys say about just people doubting the reliability of like a turbo?
I think as long as you do the right supporting mods, so like I definitely recommend an oil cooler, definitely recommend doing like heat management. Something you didn't mention earlier is like I have this vented carbon fiber hood.
Yeah, in case y'all missed it.
But the main reason why I got the hood was just to get heat out.
Yep.
Because ever since I put the turbo in, the car does get a lot more hot. So I'd say if you do the right reliability supporting mods and you get a good tuner, it's pretty reliable.
Yeah, and also, guys, keep in mind that these FA20 motors do tend to run hot from factory. So like you adding more boost to it with like a turbo or supercharger, it's gonna get hot for sure. That's why definitely want to do the supporting mods to keep the reliability there. So yeah, and move on to another question is this still dailyable? Would you say so?
Yeah, I'd say it's still dailyable. I mean, nothing about it, like with more power, makes it undailyable.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. Definitely, I guess, look into the clutch. I guess that's the more of a factor of if the car's dailyable or not. Because you throwing like a bolt-on kit to it, it's not gonna affect the drivability of the car as much as like say the clutch. Because you know, especially when you're daily driving, you're bound to get stuck in traffic. So like, the clutch is the biggest factor, and I wouldn't say like a turbo kit or a supercharger kit affects it that much. Moving to another question I got for you, Jason.
Yeah.
Since I know we both want to track our cars, and we have two different philosophy on how we would go about it. So how has this car changed, like as in like driving wise, and like the characteristics of the car?
Yeah. So when the car is NA, I mean, it's no shock that FRS BRZs, they're not that fast.
They're not.
So you really got to drive your 9/10 to keep up with people. So that's like you're flooring it all the time. You're generally in like higher gears. You're braking late.
Yep.
Now with the turbo, like some of that is still there, but I definitely have to kind of leave the RPMs a little lower just to like let the turbo really spool out and let that power go out, because like if I'm just in the top like 6-7 grand, then like I'm almost at red line, while if I was in a lower gear and let the turbo wind out, I'd get more speed out of that.
Gotcha. And would you say that, you know, since you've driven a supercharger car and a turbo car, I guess the question is, you know, which one would you prefer on track? I know that you kind of biased, but like, just talk about how like the difference and like just on track like performance, how the car acts and stuff.
I mean, on track, I'd say if I was new to just driving in general, the supercharger would probably be the way to go. But if you want to challenge yourself and I don't know, you just prefer that driving style that I go for, then I definitely go for the turbo.
Wow, I totally don't feel attacked. But yeah, anyways, you know, I guess it comes to the kind of big question is, how much did you spend?
Oh boy.
On just not including the coilovers, the tires and stuff, just to boost your car. How much did it cost?
So generally, when people ask me this question, I tell them you should budget $6 grand. I was able to grab my turbo kit secondhand, but it was almost brand new. The previous owner only used it for like 500 miles, so I got a really good deal off of that.
Gotcha.
So I bought that for around, I think it was like 3 or 4 grand. So I got really lucky with that. But with buying a used kit, you got to buy a lot of miscellaneous parts and piece it all together. But yeah, I'd say if you budget $6 grand, that's enough for the turbo kit and then to get tuned. But supporting mods like your clutch, an oil cooler, that can easily ring you into like $8,000.
Gotcha. So you guys, if you guys are interested in boosting your BRZ, FRS, or GT, whatever you call it, it's gonna cost you like upwards of $6 grand. Let's just put it that way. Like, Jason, he spent about almost 10 grand, and I would say almost spent 10 grand as well. Even we both bought our kids used, it's not a bad idea at all. But if you do have the money laying around, the extra money, I would just spend it on a newer kit, just so you don't have to go hassle around for like miscellaneous parts and all that. So it saves you a lot of hassle if you would just buy it brand new. Cause with these kits, you know, a lot of like when you buy them used, a lot of like the bolts and stuff, they tend to go missing. So if you don't want to deal with that headache of like missing parts and you have to go looking for it, I would definitely buy it brand new, so you don't have to go through all that pain of looking for like a small bolt that you have to find the specific size and all that, just so you can put it on. Because sometimes the company could make that own special bolts and like you have to hit them up for it, and that's gonna take like weeks. But I guess that brings us to the question of, is it still worth boosting your car or your FRS BRZ in 2020?
I think if you plan on keeping your car, it's totally worth it. I should say though, like, if you're not mechanically inclined, don't do it yourself.
That's for sure. That's gonna be another factor that's gonna be added into how much it's gonna cost.
Yep.
Because I think a lot of people, people say like, oh, it's gonna only cost you like $5,000, but that's $5,000 if you were to do it yourself. And a lot of the builds are done differently, and if you want the high quality stuff, then you're gonna have to spend the money for the high quality stuff, and it's gonna cost you. So
and I will say, like, now that I have this like turbo on my car, it's something that wasn't meant to be there. I always have this thought in the back of my mind of just like making sure everything's working. I can't really beat on it without that feeling of safety that like, everything's just gonna work. Like when it was NA, I knew it would always work. So I'd say, like, if you're gonna keep this car, you should definitely think about boosting it. It's fun. It really changes up the car. They're fun NA though, and something I do wish is that I drove it more while it was still NA. But I think you can't go wrong. But if you don't plan on keeping the car, like, you're pretty certain you're gonna sell it in a couple of years, it's not really worth it. Just save your time and your money for something else.
So I totally agree with that. I personally think it's still worth the money to boost the BRZ FRSs. I know there's a lot of talk about the next generation car coming out with like a turbo, and you know how we already talked about this, like that it's definitely not gonna happen. It just don't make sense as in a company perspective. If you look at it from the perspective, it don't make sense for them to have a turbo BRZ FRS, because Toyota has a Supra, which is a turbo sports car. So if you put another turbo on the BRZ FRSs, it just messes with the lineup and it won't make sense. And also with Subaru too, they have the WRX STI, so it just wouldn't make sense. And also that, add to that, this chassis, when it was created, was never meant to be boosted. Even I forgot the name of the creator, but the person that designed this created it as like a fun car, a fun NA car. So, and he also stated himself that if this car were to go boosted, it needs to be like totally redesigned. And I guess they just don't want to spend the money on redesigning the whole chassis to fit a turbo. So like, especially just to sum it up, yes, it's still worth the money to boost your car, boost your FRS BRZ GT86. Especially, I would highly suggest you guys get it used. You guys find like a low mileage used one. I think that will be a lot more worth it, because if you do all of these mods, it'll probably still cost you less than a brand new one, because you could basically pick these up for like, I would say like around like $15,000. And then like another 15 to get all the mods, like like $10,000 to boost the car, You got money left over for wheels, suspension, little exhaust, right? So, yeah. With that being said, I'll see you guys in the next one.